Oke, selamat datang di Buka Kartu, buka-bukaan lewat online podcast bareng Board Game ID. Bersama saya Isa dan juga ada rekan saya Vicky. Dan di episode kali ini kita kedatangan tamu istimewa, bahkan dia jauh dari Singapura ya. Ada tim dari tuber di atas kita di sana. Ya. Kemudian mereka yang menggarap board game Flyway yang sekarang ada di Kickstarter. Nanti kita akan gali lebih banyak lagi tentang apa itu board game Flyway. Dan mari kita minta mereka perkenalkan diri. Okay, guys, please introduce yourself first to our audience.
Hi, I'm Simon. I'm the content strategist and editor for Flyway.
Hi, Simon.
I'm the project manager for the team Flyway.
Okay, I'm Un Hong. I'm the creative director of the Flyway.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
I'm Ki. I'm a designer and illustrator for the game.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Iris. I'm also an illustrator and designer for the game, but mostly the illustrator side. Yeah.
So
okay.
Who is the designer?
We all are actually.
Okay.
We all have a stake in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. First of all, congratulations for your first board game Kickstarter, and it just funded in just 22 hours. So how do you feel about that?
Great.
Yeah.
We are relieved as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like our first ever like Kickstarter project and board game. So it's really like.
Okay.
Are you expecting that, or do you think that it can be like more quicker to fund it, or is it just on your expectation?
To be honest, I wasn't really expecting much lah. So with lower expectations, then we wouldn't be that disappointed if it doesn't go the way we want, right? Yeah. So I think as what we have right now, we are pretty contented lah that it's already fully funded on Kickstarter.
Yay!
Yay! Congratulations.
we did all our homework, of course, and we made sure that we thought about everything we could when it comes to Kickstarter campaign. When it comes to promotion, of course, making sure the game, the game design is as good as it can be. We reached out to people from the board game community, people from nature community. But after all that is said and done, of course, you are putting your trust in Kickstarter backers. So yeah, it's been very gratifying to know that people like what they see in the game. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you any plan B if the project is unfunded? Do you any backup plan or something, or worst case scenario?
I will project manager.
Yeah, we will definitely make a comeback for the game, because after developing it for so long, right, almost close to 2 years, we wouldn't want to have our efforts go down the drain lah. And so if it wasn't funded, then we will definitely plan for another relaunch.
Okay. But I think I don't know. I just confirming this first. Is it your very first Kickstarter, right?
Yes.
Yes.
This is your first. So I think for the first timers, funded in 22 hours is pretty good, I think, and very nice start. Maybe we can continue on another project. I don't know. Maybe we can dig more about the game itself, the content, and maybe about why choosing this particular project and how is the process of developing this game. So maybe Isa will lead the next question.
Yes, about the theme. You brought birds migration. Why were you willing to make a board game about birds migration in the first place?
Simon, you talk about it or me?
I think Un Hong, you go ahead because
Okay. Maybe I should let that everybody knows that I'm a bird photographer with my husband. That even I travel to Indonesia, Malang, to shoot some pita kingfisher. So I've been in photography in 12 years. So because of this hobby and I have very good relationship with BirdLife, one of the coordinators. So of course we are talk about it. We work together a few projects, and I bring it to Cuba, and we started with a brochure. And this brochure let Cuba team feel it. What is conservation? What is bird life? So everybody was so excited, and they just learned so much. And it's so amazing that you can share your hobby and your design together with your colleagues. So it's like whenever got bird sound, they will say, "Hey, what is that bird? What is this bird?" You know. So it's like you're bringing your hobby into the office, and everybody share about it. And so we did this brochure, and BirdLife International Asia, the coordinator was so happy that say, okay, maybe we are looking for next project. How to be more creative in telling people about birds that are endangered, and telling people about migratory birds and the conservation, the climate change. So that's why we say, okay, let's discuss it and bring the ideas that why not we do something fun, a game. So after discuss with the Cuba team and the BirdLife, and we decided to use board games. And because of board games and other things in our in Cuba, like Simon, like Lynette and T and Iris, they are all into board games. So I think it's a good idea to bring the message through this board game. So this is how the games came out. Yeah.
Okay, very cool background story there. Okay, then why board games, not a digital game? Is that because you mentioned the people that are into board game, or
yeah, like what I mentioned is like we have board game design, and digital game is another kind of skill. So we will, I'm not sure, but we will try to see how these board games, is it doing well, or is it that it's a market demand? We definitely will develop and look into it. Yeah.
I think one of the you were asking why we chose board games, is it?
Yes.
Oh, so
is it not why board game but not digital game? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, why board game, not digital game?
Yeah.
Oh, I think one of the things is with a board game, it's a direct experience as well, and there's a kind of tactile thing, of course, and you're kind of going through the gameplay mechanics, right? And so if there's like one cage card, so there's a card called the cage bird trade card, and when this card is drawn, yes, that's the one. So when this card is drawn, so one of the three birds that are up for saving, right? You have to place this bird on top of one of the three birds. So you immediately see, oh, this bird is caged. So when we did play tests, one of the things that made us very happy was when people were affected by it. Not that we are sadists or anything, want people to feel sad, but it just shows that there's the narrative that people get, right? And that's something very powerful about board games, when you're placing, and yeah, it's a direct experience, I guess. So yeah, that's what drew us to this medium.
And are you guys board gamer in the first place before doing this project, or do you just learn to in the board gaming world because of this project?
I'm the only one that's not really into board games, but after working with them, because when before this ideas came out, we have a board game days in our office. So through that, we every once a week. So through that, Simon always be our game master and key. So introduce all different games, and we colleagues all come together and try out. So after that, I really enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe our audience doesn't know about the Flyaway. Can you tell us a bit about what is a Flyaway board game?
Flyway is it's a board game about bird migration. So basically, in this game, all the players are trying to be ultimate bird conservationists. So there are all these different birds that are trying to complete their migratory journeys. And what you as players do is you are placing links and completing migratory routes. So once you do that, then you save a bird. But along the way, that birds will face different threats, and these we have represented by cards called foul play cards. But also we want to give people, like what Lynette's showing there. So that's a foul play card. And then, to give players a kind of, sense that, that you can do something to counteract this, of course. There are winged cards as well. So yeah, that's how the game works. Birds are basically trying to complete their migratory journeys, and you as conservationists are trying to help them and also deal with all of these different threats. And the game is based on the East Asian-Australasian Flyway, which is from Russia in the north to Australia in the south. So yeah, all the birds are those that are featured in our region.
Yeah, I saw the board and I don't know, I just feel proud because there's in Indonesia in your map.
Good.
Yeah, but actually, for your info, for a lot of migration birds that really migrate to Indonesia, they are so big. There is so many forests for them to migrate to rest. After when the season changed, when the time, actually most of the birds end at Indonesia. Only certain birds they really continue to fly down. So Indonesia is just like some of the birds' final destination. So after the next maybe beginning of the year, that they will fly back to Russia, China side. Yeah. So Indonesia is a very, very wonderful place for migration birds. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
It's interesting because we Indonesian didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really, unless you're really into bird, you really didn't know that. That's the thing about Indonesia has become the final place for the birds. Unless you are really into that kind of hobby, maybe.
Yeah.
But my point is, this is a very specific topic, and then maybe not many people are really into it, like into the hobby of knowing about birds, including me. Actually, I didn't have a clue about the migration of the bird. Do you not afraid that this kind of theme will not interesting enough for the people to get into your project? Are you confident that this theme will be enjoyed by so many people, even if they are not into this kind of thing, like the migration of something like that? How do you see this?
I think this question, Lynette will be the best person to answer, because it's like kind of mother family, and she test played with many family. So all these family, they are not really into birds. So because like what you mentioned, it's a very niche market. Why we so confident? Because that is a conservation message. So how to educate children, how to bring this, because our team is considered edutainment, education and entertainment. So maybe Lynette, you want to talk more about it when you test play with the family, the children. What is your feedback? I mean, when you play with them.
I think initially we also had the worry about the game not being well received, because it's a very specialized topic. So yeah, but then through our test plays, right, I think a lot of the people give us very good feedback, and they actually learn things from the game, like, migratory birds, the dangers that they face in the game. And it's very good that this game is actually playable for kids 10 and above as well. Yeah, so we actually play test with family groups with children, and yeah, it's playable, and we are glad to hear that they actually like the game.
So we're really curious about your partnership with BirdLife International. So how is their role on the development of on your project?
Okay, maybe I can answer this question.
Okay.
Working with BirdLife, because BirdLife International, the coordinator, his name is Dr. Yong Lin. So we work with Dr. Yong, and he is a very crazy birder. He's a very fun person. So working with him is really quite enjoyable. I believe the team also quite enjoy to work with him. And he always have a heavy heart for migratory birds. So so when he want to approach creative way to bring out this message, because migratory bird is really endangered, you can see even a lot of reports talking about that they are going to extinct. So how we work with them is that they provide all the information for us. So for our site, we are using the design site. For their site, for BirdLife, if they are thinking is what birds should we feature? And all the birds they feature is like most of them are water birds. The water birds, these shore birds, is like the wetlands. So all the birds are not really beautiful. Their color are very plain. So this is how tuber comes in. We have to get the balance. Forest birds are beautiful. Open country birds are amazing. So how to bring these three habitats of birds together? So we have to work with Dr. Yong Lin very closely to see which bird to select and how we have to choose some very, very colorful ones to attract the eyeball, and we can shoot. But for his side, he wants the message, so he will need to choose something is really critical and dangerous, especially the spoonbill sandpiper. Maybe very fast you have to bring up this card. This this one is the spoonbill sandpiper. It's it's right now it's critical and dangerous, and BirdLife is really want to talk about this. There are a lot of topic, a lot of seminar are trying to save this bird. So this bird also one of the star birds. So you can see how we get we at one side we have to try to bring the message up. The other side we have to take care of the audience who really don't know birds, and they were attracted by this. Actually, that some bird looks like Pokemon, but actually they are existing. They are very colorful. They are really look very strange, but they are there. So it's like so through this you can see how amazing is bird life in surround us, especially Southeast Asia, especially Singapore and Indonesia. You should really treasure the birds that around us because they are beautiful, and we should really put some effort to try to keep them alive, especially when climate change, especially will come to a lot of problem in the world, like the the forest fires, the tsunami, whatever. So yeah, that's why through this game you can learn the very basic knowledge of our our climax and the birds. Yeah. So tuber, we always we have to take care. It's not too dry, not too scientific, but yet it's don't forget what game is still a fun game to play. We cannot have too heavy message over there. Yeah. So anything to add, Simon? Yeah.
Key, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to chip in that Dr. Yang Lin also have advised us on events inside the game, like wing it and foul play. Yeah. So all of the data we have inside the game is actually like verified by Dr. Yang Lin. Yeah. Inside the bird.
Yeah.
So since there are scientists behind your project, how far can we learn or use your game as an education, like tools maybe for the school or something?
I think for most of the data is scientifically correct. But for the flyway, the destination, maybe now you can explain more about this when we choose country.
Yeah, because right now for the map, we have the origin to fly to the destination. They are not the end destination. Some of them, they are passing by. So it's like you maybe in our game card, it's like from Russia reach Singapore, but actually the birds are still continue to fly to Indonesia. But because of the game design, we cannot everything all at Indonesia. That will be very, very crowded. So some routes, they are just passing by. So so we have to get the balance. So he is very good in that. So he designed the map to like the routes. We have to get the balance. At the country, we have to work with bird life very, very closely. Like, okay, this bird is like from maybe from Hong Kong to Indonesia, but Indonesia here, this part is already so crowded. Which part can we continue to other locations that can you advise? So it's like, okay, maybe East Malaysia. So you see, so we have to get the balance. So it's not the card, maybe Lynette, can you bring out one card, show the destination, the start and the end point. So you can see this Japanese flycatcher, paradise flycatcher, is from Japan to Java. So actually, right now this bird is in Singapore. So they will stay a few days and then they will fly to Java. So maybe the first from Java can go there and wait for this bird to go.
Okay.
So this is all the, I can say all the data are 100% correct. Because even the illustration, the illustration of the bird, he is the one who came up the style, but how Iris came and take over both of them to work together closely. You can maybe, Iris, you can talk more about the drawing. Maybe you just like recently you just draw the birds until she is going to get naked already.
I found this whole process very interesting also because I actually joined the company a little bit later than Key. So he was already like, when I joined, they were already starting the project. They already decided the style they wanted to do, with something like a little bit realistic, but there's like a cartoonish vibe to it. Yeah. So I would have to then like pick up like certain quirks and style from Key's drawing, and then try to mimic that style so that we will have a consistent set of like bird cards. Yeah, so that was a very tough but interesting process. Yeah, and I mean it's good also like, cause I mean I learned something new, and he's also very helpful. Like we learned about different brushes and like certain way to slice certain things and like erase and brush over stuff to make it look nice. Yeah, so a lot of trial and error.
Now her background got bird call.
Yeah, I just heard bird.
I keep muting the mic because I don't know it will affect your recording. Every time this timing, the bird will like quack, quack.
They know they are being talked.
Yeah, they know we are talking about them.
And I think Iris do like a great job in drawing bird, and for your information, like most of the bird currently inside the game is drawn by Iris.
Okay.
Very
good.
Thank you.
What I'm trying to say is that you follow the birds very, very closely. Like today, Dr. Yong Lily said, oh, the bird, the claw is not curved, it's straight. So you know, it's like all this detail you have to be very, very follow exactly the same. And you look at it, oh, sorry, this bird is wrong. The belly, there is some black spot. So you see, all this we have to verify, let him check, and it's not just 1-2 rounds. There is many rounds of changing and improving. So that is how hard the illustration came by. So I really can say Iris and Key really, really did a very, very good job on the bird illustration.
But it's very interesting to know also because I never knew that like I mean, for example, like, oh, a bunting, right? A type of bird. Like, there's many different type of bunting. So it doesn't mean like you like Google or search this bird, then that's the correct bird, you know. That's why we have to verify with Dr. Yong to make sure like it's the correct bird we are like drawing and like showing to our audience. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
important.
So you're actually confirming if your depiction of the bird is really like depict the real thing or not, one by one, to Dr. Young.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
really good.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
I
a
say like,
very great effort.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have test
Yeah.
played the game with birders, like bird enthusiasts
Mhm.
also, and they really love the illustration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can see that.
You-
Because even the cover looks very interesting. Although I would say that the last bird that you showed to us, the picture, it said that it
Fletcher.
migrated to Java, but I'm from Java and I haven't seen that kind of bird.
Yeah, me too. I'm in Java.
Maybe
But-
after y'all play the game, y'all can go and try to hunt for it. Take a picture.
Okay.
The bird on average size is only 19 cm, so give yourself some
Okay.
yeah.
benefit.
Very, very small.
Yeah.
Like some binocular to see the bird actually, right?
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
for each type of bird, do you put any other information other than maybe the name and the picture? Are you give any additional information related to that bird or?
Yeah. I think the most.
We do have.
Yeah. Maybe Lynette, you can talk about it.
Yeah, so for each of the bird cards, we actually have a one-liner of the trivia, and this has also been provided by Dr. Yong lah. Very kind of him to work so closely with us. So at the
Okay.
bottom of the card, you can see, there's a one-liner.
that's yeah.
So
There's
It's
also
like
we
the
hope
fact.
that during the game, when players are in between their turns, right, they can take a look at the bird cards and then read all this information as well.
We have the bird size and conservation status also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on, so okay, it's the same card as what Lynette showed. So we this is the conservation status. So this is a vulnerable bird, and then we also have the scientific name here. I'm not sure whether viewers can see, and then we also have the habitat. So I mean, it's one thing to kind of like put all of this information here, but the key thing for us as game designers was showing how we can bring this out into gameplay. So, birds with the same habitats, they have abilities that kind of activate each other. So, this kind of affinity as well. So, you get more points and stuff like that. And then in terms of vulnerable status, there's a card where basically to free a caged bird, you only can use that on some some birds with a particular vulnerable status. So that was actually kind of a challenge, but a fun thing for us, right? Because there is all this information, but what you do with it, and at the end of the day, it has to be fun, right? So maybe you get the caged bird trade card, the card to free the caged bird, but then the bird is not the right one, so you can't play that card. And then you get to play, you want to save a particular bird, but maybe you need a forest bird so that you can really get as many points as possible. So the fun thing for us was you putting all of this information out there, but maybe when you're playing the game, you might not immediately pick it up like, oh, actually I'm learning some things about conservation. But by playing, bit by bit, you'll get it. So it's not like, here's conservation, please, study this and go home. And, it's supposed to be a fun game. And yeah, we have a lot of different types of players. So of course, we just play board gamers, and, they just found it fun to kind of strategize and, outwit each other. One of them said this game was a bit like a cat and mouse game, because the person who places the last link basically saves the bird. So you're always strategizing to see how can you maneuver and place that last link, right? And sometimes you might be waiting for a card that allows you to play extra links. So yeah, it's really a mix. So sometimes you just get a thrill out of just winning the game, and then maybe yeah, when you win the game, then you see, got this beautiful bird, and then then maybe you'll read the flavor text. So all of these different layers, I guess, and yeah, I guess the board game allows for that.
It's very interesting.
Because you are really working closely with the researcher, the people that really know about birds. Can you share to us what is the interesting fact that you found in while doing your project that most people don't know about birds? Maybe like just tell us some interesting fact about birds that people should know because you're working on this project.
Yeah. Anyone could share.
Like what do you learn by doing this project with research?
Birds only fly from north to south. I didn't know that. Right?
Not to sound during autumn
migration. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Oops, I got that part. See? Yeah, I didn't know about that like previously because I'm like totally not a birder. I'm actually scared of birds last time. But like after like doing this, I'm like, okay, look at that. But I can imagine parts of their body being a picture after I do this game. Yeah. So yeah, that's something I learned.
As a illustrator, right now I can recognize a lot of birds. If I see
yes.
But I have to look at it very closely when I draw it, and then have to fix the illustration many times so I know how it looks like. Like it's in my mind now.
Because you're working through the detail of each
Yes.
of one of the birds.
Yes.
Where is
Okay.
the bird?
Maybe,
Very easy.
maybe somebody can share about the chestnut wing cuckoo, because when I share this bird to them, they are like, "Wow, what is this bird? The parasite bird? Can somebody share that?"
Actually, I was just about to talk. I was just about to talk about that and said it already. Yeah. So Mao and I.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Lynette too. Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
Lynette, you want to
Yeah, can
explain
share?
about it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, so during the process of developing the game, we got to know that the cuckoo is actually a brood parasite, which they put their eggs on other birds' nests, so that the other bird can raise their kid for that on their behalf lah.
That's very convenient.
So the small birds are very stupid. They thought the chestnut wing cuckoo is their chick. So they continue to feed. Even they are so bigger than the mother bird, they still continue to feed. So I even witnessed that. So the small bird is like, they are so busy. It's like forever cannot feed such a big bird. They will fly here, fly there. And you can see they are very shy and their feathers are kind of broken because they work very hard. So you see, these chestnut wing cuckoo are a very, very bad bird. They always lay eggs into other birds' nests. So when I told that, they are quite amazed by how nature works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like another bird fact, this little fella, the great knot, this fella, even though when you look at him, he's so small, he travels over 10,000 kilometers from Siberia all the way to Australia. So, these are things I would have never really thought to look up myself, right? But, while working at the game, then you're like, oh, this bird, and then, you kind of Google it. It can travel for so far. It's got such amazing stamina. So, yeah, small facts like this.
Yeah, me myself, after learned the information about the game, I also Googled some information about birds, and I found the documentary on Netflix. So I don't remember the title, but they gave information about the birds. The male bird, they need to dance before to attract the females.
Oh.
And that's a very beautiful dance. Yeah.
So that is bird of paradise. So bird of paradise, they are not migratory birds, but they are they only survive in Papua New Guinea. So this is one of my dreams, to go there and take pictures of the birds. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful, but it's a very, very hardcore. You have to carry your heavy equipment, climb some mountains, have to cross some river. I hope I'm younger that I can do that. It's quite a tough journey to see bird of paradise.
The title is Dancing with the Birds.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dancing.
it's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
I watched that as well.
Okay. Tadi ini main kartu.
Yeah, okay. Maybe
Yeah.
one more thing is I want you to give a sense of people, like what is so interesting about the migration of the bird. So we are already talking about the bird itself, like the way they very diverse and they behave like differently. But about the migration of the bird itself, what's so interesting about that? Why do you think the migration is more? Many people should know more about the migration of the bird.
Yeah. Why is that important for us to know?
I think because bird migration, it's there's a real drama to bird migration. First, these little creatures are taking these epic journeys like every year, right? You might not even think about it. It's happening right above your head. But also the what interested me, at least from kind of like storytelling point of view, and designing a game, right, is that they are facing threats all along the way, right? All kinds of different dangers, right? So natural predators, habitat destruction, and all of that, right? So just for playing a game, there's a kind of adventure as well, right? You're kind of like trying to save these birds, their journeys. You're kind of going through a journey through their eyes in a way. And of course, as a player, you're placing the links, right? And then you kind of, once the journey is completed, basically, the bird has made it the destination. So that was exciting for us to kind of like map out this whole drama, like how can you do it in a small scale for a game, right? So bird migration is fascinating that way because it's very dramatic.
Yeah.
I think for myself, I like when we get to see the other kinds of birds that are not native, because in Singapore, right, all we see out in the streets are pigeons, crows, miners, which are not so interesting lah. Yeah, so to be able to work on this game, we really see the different species of birds, colorful ones, and we learn a lot through the development of this game.
Yeah. The migratory birds is like not only like the journey is really dramatic, but through this they are bringing you the real fact of our climate change. Because sometimes, how birds migrate is that when they are top at the north, it's like Russia or China. When the day like is shorter, they know it's time to migrate. So because the night will be longer, when winter the night will be longer, the day will be shorter. So it's a time to migrate. So when they migrate through the journey, through every country, so you can imagine how difficult for them to reach their destinations into Indonesia or to Australia or to New Zealand. So that's why Simon said there is a lot of story about it. Actually, when I do bird photography, when I really look at the birds, I really can feel the journey. And this morning when I'm just working, I look out the window and this Oriental honey buzzard just flew past my house, and the wing and the tails are broken. So can you imagine how hard they fly? So you just like so hard pain, but yet they survive. So this is one of the birds. actually this is in Indonesia there are a lot. They fly to Java again.
Yeah. I'm just laughing because I don't know that bird.
Yeah, it's a kind of eagle. So they eat the honey. So that's why they call it honey baza. So through the journey that you can learn the dangers they're facing, because they fly past, they will have maybe some weather change, storm, hunting, or what else? It's like what other dangers that there are many dangers that they are facing.
Pollution.
Yeah. Sorry. Light pollution
I think
and
that's something not a lot
urbanization.
of people know. Yeah, not a lot of people know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. This light pollution actually they thought it's actually some birds they migrate through stars. So when they see lights, they thought it's star, and then they will mess up their journey. So window collection is also, so it's in Singapore, there are many buildings and they are built by a lot of windows, right? So some of the birds are banged into the window, and some of them can survive, but some of them really just gone like that. So all this, can you imagine the birds, they flew so far and then when reach Singapore and then bend to the window and like, that kind of feeling is quite hard pain for them. And migratory birds, another most important thing is that they are bringing the message. They are the Simon, how Dingley explained to us is like they are the messages of our climate change. Correct? Yeah. You see, I also learning. So whenever you see the birds, it's already August. Why the birds haven't reached that? There is something happened in the north. Or maybe it's like in May, and why this bird is here? What happened to the north? So you see that it brings us the message to understand they are the only animals that can migrate so far. Yeah, not elephant, not butterfly, it's the only one. Even fishes also. Even fishes is migrate, but we can't see their undersea. But birds is like when you look out, their bird is there. So they are the messages. Yeah. Anything to add? Yeah.
I just knew that the climate change is really affecting the way they migrate or the time they migrate. And I think that's very powerful message if you can send that in your game to the people that this is really serious things. They migrate faster because of the hotter temperature that
the climate,
or how do you explain that, the effect of climate change to the change in the way birds migrate to the different places?
Maybe I can give another example. Last year, Singapore suddenly flew. There is a lot of hundreds of thousands of birds flew past. That is never happened before. That is open bill stock. Sometimes, for the past few years, maybe one or two they lost and they flew past Singapore. But last year, there is thousands over flew past. It's because of the Thailand. Thailand is because of the dry season. So all the farming, the water is all dry up. They don't have food because they eat a special snail from the farm, the rice farm. So because dry out, they got no food. They have to fly past Singapore to Indonesia. I think a lot went to Indonesia. It's a lot. I think the net witnessed one of it, right? The open bill stock. So that time our Facebook, Singapore Birders Facebook, all like so crazy. It's like, wow, the whole sky is like 100,000 of birds. If the open bill stock are quite big, they are not in our list. They are not critical endangered, but you can see how climate can change their behavior. So can you imagine if a lot flies to Indonesia and they can eat up all your kinds of food, the local birds, somehow the ecosystem will change. Yeah.
Just to add on a bit about this climate change thing. So
And
the way
yeah.
the way it comes out in the game is what is our catastrophe cards. So we have these cards called catastrophe. So
Yeah.
these so as you can see here, this is the mass extinction card. So basically, these cards, unlike the other foul play cards that I've shown you, right? They affect all players. And another one is like this, sea level rise. Everybody's worried about this. So yeah, so this one way, players directly get to kind of experience, I guess. Okay, not directly, but through a metaphor, you get to experience climate change. So yeah, and in the game, right, basically a lot of this, like with sea level rise, right, you get to kind of clear away links. So you get a kind of, you get to see destruction of climate change. So yeah, that's how we kind of work climate change into our game. And also these games were meant to kind of give a bit of sense of danger and urgency when you're playing, to put people on the edge. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Like if we can make people like realize that by playing the game, that's will be a very good thing. So you already have a project about the bird migration. Do you have the next project in mind for now?
Wow.
Yeah.
What is
He
it?
had recently had an idea to expand further into this bird migration lah. But it's still it's still in the egg. It's not hatched yet.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing we are ready to, kind of, because there's still so much to do, but we definitely want to take Flyway and see, where else we can go with this for sure.
Yeah.
So you just want to focus on this one first until it's done.
Yeah.
Everything is
But
done.
definitely we already have like some idea.
There are a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only
Looking
that,
forward to
but
that.
something else.
Whether to continue the bird journey or we discover something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I want to ask to Lynette, as a lead project, why do you accept this project and willing to bring it live?
Well, to be honest, I'm not a very serious gamer, so I play games for fun lah. But this project is something different from our core business. So when we have this opportunity of developing a game, right? Of course, I wouldn't mind because it's work and play together. And throughout this whole development process, we learn a lot of things. And I'm really happy to be part of the team.
Okay. So usually it's a million question for a game designer, but I curious to ask you, and your game going through a lot of process and it takes time to get done. So how do you know the game is finished and ready to go in the Kickstarter?
Okay, so there are various factors. So during, especially this year, we have all this COVID situation, right? And then we had to do play tests as well, and we couldn't do the physical play test, so we actually brought the play test to Tabletopia, and this actually helped us to move forward the development process and stuff like that. And after the restrictions got lesser, right? We resumed the physical play test and then got a lot of valuable feedback from the play testers. That's where we actually reviewed the game and then make further improvements. And when we feel that it's really almost done and we are really satisfied with it, then we decided to, it's time to launch instead of dragging it further, because the good thing about launching a game on Kickstarter is that we can still continue to improve the game from the backers' feedback and stuff. Yeah, so this is a really good platform lah, to bring the game and take in different feedback from playtesters, from the backers, to see what people want all over the world.
Yeah. How long do you plan the Kickstarter itself, the Kickstarter program? How long do you plan it?
It was at least a good half a year. Yeah, even before that, we have already been talking that we want to plan for Kickstarter and stuff like that. So we were mainly focusing on the gameplay itself to polish it up and make sure everything is ready for launching on Kickstarter lah. So yeah, all this has been a long process, and juggling between the gameplay and launching it on Kickstarter with all the marketing, pre-marketing stuff to do. It is a very long learning process for all of us, and yeah, but it's really good lah to be learning all these.
Okay. Maybe the last question for all of you. I need one of you to answer this one question. We know that Flyway is on Kickstarter right now. Why people should back your game? Okay, one person, one answer. Why people should back Flyway game?
For my perspective, for my perspective is that we don't know what whether we will actually go into mass distribution. So this is your only chance of getting the game and really playing it. Yeah, and we really hope to have a lot of people be able to play this game so that we know how whether it's good or bad this game is. Yeah, and it will determine whether we have a chance to develop another game.
Yeah. Simon, how's your answer?
I mean, like, with, I mean, the beauty and also the kind of not say stress or what. It's a kind of, Kickstarter is all or nothing, right? I mean, that's the scary thing, but also the great thing about it, right? Because there's an urgency about it, right? If you want to see this project by this creator, go live, then you have to back it. So yeah, and people can go to our Kickstarter page. They can check out our website. They can read our rule book and see what we have there. What's the gameplay mechanism like? What's the story we are trying to say? And yeah, they can decide for themselves, because when you go on Kickstarter, you're putting your faith in the crowd, and that's what we have done. And so far, we've been very happy with all the feedback. People have been very kind and generous, and yeah, we don't take any of that for granted.
And
Okay.
I also want to say something.
Okay. Go ahead.
all the Indonesian friends, please support us, because a lot of birds fly to your country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should just cut that and just use what Mao said. Just
no, really, Indonesia is such a wonderful country. It's such a good place for the birds, for the wildlife to survive. Please help BirdLife International, because a lot of birds are really endangered. And if the climate change, you never protect your forest, especially deforestation or forest fire, it's very, very important, because it affects the whole ecosystem. So Indonesians, please support us. Yeah, we have a calling for that. Joking. Yeah.
Okay, so Iris, why people should back Flyway?
We must sell the game. Nah, kidding. Actually, personally, right, to be very honest, right, so far, even though we play so many times, right, I'm still not sick of the game. I can proudly and safely say that I am not sick of the game. So it's actually quite fun. So I'm quite excited for people to buy it, to try it, and to, other than learning about all these things, even if you're not a birder, I think a lot of us, we like challenges, and we like to have fun. So if you like these two things, it will be good for you to play this game, and have a good time with your family and friends. Because we're always on our phones, right? Nowadays, like, or we're always looking at screens. So it's nice to have something like to play and enjoy and like socialize and make friends and make enemies while you play the game, you know, because it's a strategic game. Yeah, it's like very funny when you see everybody like you know, you almost save a bird, then another person like swoops in and like, haha, I'm the last link placer, you lose, like then like steal your bird, then you're like, flip table, you know. Yeah, it's quite fun. So
Yeah.
This girl is very violent.
yeah, no, but it's very funny.
Okay.
It's like the drama is there.
So Key.
I think we have limited edition cards and
Yes.
stuff on Kickstarter. So I think if you want to have your hand early on the game and those limited edition cards with like special powers, back us on Kickstarter.
Oh, yes.
Yay!
Okay, yay. Okay, thank you. So I will close this interview in bahasa Indonesia. Oke. Jadi teman-teman ya yang tertarik untuk mendapatkan board game Flyway dari Tuber, mereka sedang menggalang dana di Kickstarter sampai tanggal 14 Desember 2020. Teman-teman bisa mendukung mulai dari Rp55.000. Tapi cuma dapat poster digital, dan kalau mau dapat board game-nya kalian harus menyumbang minimal sekitar Rp550.000. Dan nanti akan ada ditambah ongkir sekitar Rp200.000 untuk dikirim ke Indonesia. Dan seperti itu aja semua informasinya tadi untuk Flyway ada di boardgame.id. Jadi begitu saja episode buka kartu kali ini bersama teman-teman kreator dari Tuber. Dan terima kasih banyak sudah menonton. Kalau ada yang menonton sampai akhir, terima kasih banget. Mari kita tutup kartunya dan sampai jumpa di episode selanjutnya. Dadah. Say bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.